YouTube. Today I want to talk to you about a few things. The first being Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is, for most people, not a very funny comedian. He's not funny at all. Many people feel that way about him, but yet they keep trying to push him on the public and put him out there in the public eye and try to get him well liked as a comedian, but he's not funny. However, I want to talk about him a little bit because he's there's some controversy over him and the Oscars and all. Kevin Hart plays the same character in almost every movie. He tries to act tough, and then all of a sudden he gets called out, and then he's whining and complaining about it, and acts like a little baby. And he does that, real loud, obnoxious whiner, and he's like that in every movie. He plays the same character, like a black man that's just lost his mind, and it's not funny. It's obnoxious and annoying, irritating. I just watched a new movie by him called Night School, and it's pretty much the same thing. Almost every movie he's done I've tried to watch, it's like that. There were a couple funny parts because of the other actors, not because of him. And one of the worst parts of the movie I thought was the black woman, because that's supposed to be his teacher. I don't know where they get thinking that, they basically were trying to claim that a lot of black women are pretty much, they always have a chip or attitude, a chip on their shoulder. They got an attitude problem, and they think it's funny when it's not. It's ridiculous, and it's very pitiful and childlike, and that's the way this woman was acting. Like, there were certain parts where through most of the time she was acting like she was just all that in a bag of chips. She couldn't do any wrong, even though she's literally proven she's wrong many times, but still, and that, black women act like that all the time. And then they try to like the character sometimes by making her look like she's decent, like she's doing decent things, but at the same time she wants to treat people, especially men, like dog crap, and get away with it and think it's funny, and it's not. It was ridiculous. I don't mind a movie that's doing comedy where they're acting retarded on purpose to be funny. That's all right with me sometimes, but when the movie is just plain retarded and the jokes are not funny, it's just retarded, it's dumb, I really have a hard time with movies like that, because it's not a funny movie at all. And that's basically what this movie was. It was just plain retarded. But that's what I've come to expect from most Kevin Hart movies anyway. I don't care for him as a comedian. But as far as the Oscars thing goes, I think he did the right thing. Because you got, social justice warriors or Black Lives Matter, freaking you know, LGBTQ community, whatever, how much of the alphabet they want. And feminists, you know, they want to go back through old tweets now all the time from like 10 years ago, old jokes, and try to slander, you know, a comedian or something, especially when they go on the Oscars or something, and they, you know, all that is, the awards ceremony anymore is basically actors going up there trying to push their political agendas, and it's just, I wouldn't want in that mess either, so I think he did the right thing, just stepped back and said, no, you find somebody else to do it, I won't be a part of that crap. The other thing I wanted to mention was the whole, I found it ridiculous that, you know, even though that the Democrats won the House by a very narrow margin, like they really didn't get ahead that much in the House, winning House seats, but they did win it, the majority, and I saw in there how that Schumer and Nancy woman went up there to talk to Trump about, you know, the whole building the wall and the immigration thing, and that they said they had nothing to hide, but then they turn around and tell him they want a private meeting with the doors closed, with no media, when they talked to him about it. And he said, no, if you don't have anything to hide, you know, they're more than welcome to watch, you know. And then they literally threw a hissy fit because Trump told them, you know, you're appointed because the people wanted you here. We work for the people. We do not work for ourselves. And we need to do what the people want, not what you want. And they threw a hissy fit, and he said, because they wanted to do something completely different. And he said, the people want a wall, that's what we're going to give them. If you don't give it to them, I'll just shut down the government because I'm done playing games with you people. And they threw a fit, and they walked out of the White House like little spoiled brats. And, you know, Trump, I do agree with Trump on that. You know, they're there to work for the people, not for themselves. And they've lost sight of that. Most politicians have lost sight of that. And the people want the wall, so they need to get a man up or whatever and get it done. I am a big fan of like classic B-rated sci-fi, fantasy, all that. You know, I like watching them types of movies as long as it's decent enough that I can watch it. It could have bad acting, can be a little cheesy or campy, you know, cheesy special effects, you know. You know, there wasn't a whole bunch of CGI going on back then. Even in the 60s, I could watch 60s stuff as long as it's not in black and white. You know, it's got to be in color. But anything, most generally anything before the year 2000, you know, was fairly decent. Nowadays, I don't care for most movies because they just want to put out something with special effects and hope it makes a lot of money. They don't care about the story or anything like that anymore. But I was told I was a good judge of picking out really, really good movies, especially B-rated movies. Movies that most people haven't even heard of. And today I figured I'd go ahead and do a review on an older movie from 1983 called DeathStalker. DeathStalker, which I don't know how he came up with the name for that movie. It's a pretty cheesy, pretty silly name. Like who would call themselves DeathStalker? You know, it's just That's a little bit over the top. But Conan the Barbarian came out and was a huge success. And the master of B-rated knockoff movies from successful movies, Roger Corman, decided to do uh, a movie called DeathStalker to cash in on the success of Conan the Barbarian. So he figured he'd do his own Barbarian movie. And obviously it did. It actually did pretty decent because, you have several sequels to it. And I looked up the sales on it, and with a budget of just, under 500,000, they actually pulled in like $11 million or better, almost 12 million to be exact. So the movie did really well as far as budget-wise goes. It was actually a pretty good success, even though it was definitely cheesy and campy, and the acting was pretty bad. Excuse me. It starred a guy named Richard Hill, who was, I don't know, he was kind of like a knockoff of Fabio. He just wasn't really I don't know, no one never heard of him. No one knows who he is. But he decides to do this movie, and he's not really the hero type. He's supposed to be the hero, but he actually plays a douchebag, a real ass. You know, just pretty much, go screw yourself, I'm going to do what I want type of attitude. At the beginning, you have these guys who look like they've got radiation poisoning or something. They got all these sores on them, and I don't know if they're supposed to be mutants or whatever. Look like cavemen with sores. You see and they're practically right on top of this guy who's getting ready to rape this chick. And this guy takes off running, runs into DeathStalker, and DeathStalker tells him, he says, "Those are my horses you stole." And he has this big fight scene with these caveman looking people, kills the thief, tries to rape the woman after he kills the thief. He's supposed to be this good guy, and she's pretending like she's enjoying it, but he's literally raping her. And then this old man shows up out of the blue, out of nowhere, just walks out behind these rocks and tells him that the king wants to see him. And while he's being distracted, the girl runs off, so now he ain't getting laid, which ticks him off. But he goes with the old man, and he treats the king like crap. He's a real douche. Again, he's an ass to him. King's sitting in this little pup tent, and he's cooking something over the fire. DeathStalker walks up and basically takes the meat off, steals his food, eating it, and tells him to go piss off because the king wants him to go kill this evil sorcerer who took over his kingdom. And DeathStalker told him to go, like I said, go piss off. He's going to do whatever he wants. It's his problem, yada yada. And where are the guards in this? That's supposed to surround the king. I didn't see any guards, and they, he's sitting there insulting their king and treating him like crap, and it just made no sense. There's no guards around, but anyway, he takes off. He sees this witch who's being attacked by a couple of people, black guardsmen or whatever they're called, that work for the sorcerer, and he kills them off, and then kills this one guy named Kane or something. And he takes the amulet. He has this amulet, and he takes and transforms himself and flies off with it. And the witch tells him he needs the amulet and some chalice of magic that the sorcerer has, and the sword of destiny or something. And when he puts them all three together, he'll have unlimited power or some crap like that. She tells him where to find the sword. He goes, finds the sword in this cave with this little munchkin looking puppet or whatever, who says he was a man, and he has to defeat this big ogre-like creature. He beats this ogre and then takes the little creature with him, and the creature becomes a man. And it's really weird how it happens. You know, one minute he's a boy leading the creature out because that's the prophecy, and then all of a sudden DeathStalker's DeathStalker again, and the creature is this old man or whatever. But anyway, whatever. It made no sense, but he now has the sword, which, by the way, was just laying there in a hole inside the cave. Literally, you know, anyone could have taken it. Anyway, they take off. They run into this young guy who's jumping around, fighting these guys, and DeathStalker helps him out. And then, you know, kind of like you know, again, he's acting like a douchebag. He's acting like he did it all, you know, that the young guy didn't do jack, you know. And the young guy, he's kind of cocky. He kind of acts like he can defeat anyone, you know. And he tells about this tournament that the evil sorcerer is having, that he's dying, and that he's going to give the kingdom over to whoever wins this tournament. So they're going to go to this tournament. Well, then they run into this blonde barbarian female warrior, I guess, and they decide to take her with them, you know. Of course, you know, decide to do it in the morning. They bed down for the night, and naturally DeathStalker says, now I can get my freak on, which he does. And then they go to the castle where the tournament's being held by the evil sorcerer, and you meet all the contestants, and he introduces this princess who he kidnapped or whatever, and he claims to be his queen or whatever, going to be his queen, and there's a big fight over her, and then later on, the weirdest part is the sorcerer turns his second in command into the princess or woman to go kill DeathStalker. But DeathStalker, the whole time, he's trying to screw the woman, which he doesn't realize is actually a man, and she's trying to kill him the whole time with this knife. Finally, he gives up and throws her out of the room, and the warrior barbarian woman that came with him, she finds her and tries to consolidate her, and the next thing you know, it turns into that man who's this sorcerer's second in command, and they fight, and he doesn't even touch her, stab her or anything, but yet somehow he stabbed her or whatever, and she, not only does he die, but she dies in DeathStalker's arm, because it comes out to find out what the commotion's all about. There's a couple fight scenes for the tournament, but they're really cheesy and they're not very good. Like I was saying, there's a couple of fight scenes in the tournament, but they're not really that great. One's with the young guy they came with, and the other is with the DeathStalker, and there's one pig-like looking guy. He literally has a pig face that he ends up fighting to win the tournament. Come to find out, the young guy is actually kind of a spy, and he tries to attack DeathStalker, and DeathStalker basically, you know, tells him he's his friend, and then he breaks his neck, you know, kills him, and then yeah, like I say, he wins the tournament, and then the sorcerer tries to kill DeathStalker, and DeathStalker It's the weirdest fight scene I ever seen. Really doesn't do anything. Uh, there's this magic glow on him or whatever, making it look like he's throwing some magic on him or whatever. And then next thing you know, DeathStalker walks over to him and literally yanks the chalice out of his hands. And then the sorcerer basically says, "Don't kill me." And he says, the DeathStalker pretty much just takes the three pieces, the chalice, the sword, and the amulet, puts them together, and basically destroys him. And that's so no one could have the power. And that's literally the end of the movie. It was, like I said, it was kind of cheesy, kind of campy, but it was decent enough that I could watch it. You know, of course, it had a little bit of bad acting in it naturally, but and there were parts of it that didn't make no sense. But overall, it was actually a fairly decent movie for back then, I guess. And, you know, I enjoyed it. It was definitely entertaining, is what I'm saying. You know, if it's entertaining, I'll watch it, even if it is kind of cheesy. But I liked it for what it was. You know, you can knock on the special effects all you want to, but you know, it's 1980. You know, you're not going to have really super great special effects. There's no CGI. They relied more on the story than they did the CGI. The whole part with the when they're meeting the all the contestants in the castle, they've got this two chicks wrestling in a mud bath or whatever, and some guy tries to join them or whatever. But you know, it was pretty funny, comical. You have an old woman spitting fire at the old man that's with them, you know, like she's gonna, you know, she's got some kind of sexual fetish for him or something, you know, and he's freaking out about it, you know. It's then you got the barbarian chick. She literally comes in there and yanks some chick off a DeathStalker like she owns him or something, you know, and gives the other chick a stare down, you know. It's just really cheesy, really campy, but funny and enjoyable to watch. Plus the fact that, you know, that whole scene there was like, it looked like out of an 80s rock band or, you know, heavy metal band video or something. It was the costumes and everything. It was just, I mean, it just kind of took you back. But you know, I'd heard of it, you know, and I'd seen it like at a video store back in the day, but I never got around to watching it, you know, because I knew it wouldn't look anything like it did on the cover. And on the cover, you know, you see this monster trying to kidnap the woman and DeathStalker trying to fend off the monster, you know. And I knew nothing like that was going to be, and it wasn't. There was nothing in the movie like that. A lot of times the covers were a little bit misleading, but it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't too bad, you know. If you like cheesy, campy, B-rated movies, you know, naturally it had to be. It was a Roger Corman knockoff, you know. He's the one who did Battle Beyond the Stars and you know, Galaxy of Terror, and you know, even with, it'd be surprising some of them movies back then, you see A-listed actors in them, you know, that back then they weren't even known. But yeah, for that DeathStalker, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad. Yeah, I suggest you give it a try if you're into B-rated movies like that. If you have any comments such as what kind of movie I should give a review on next, what I should check out, you know, because I know there's some I missed or didn't even watch back in the day, and probably wouldn't mind getting to watching them now. But if you have any suggestions on any B-rated movies, and give me a suggestion in the comments down below, and I'll check it out. Uh, that's all for now. I told you you'd be told the truth, and you've just been told.